There's this idea that deals have to be done in the offseason because so many players like to focus on the task at hand. JP Morosi on a Monday morning, but Vlad and the Blue Jays must have been close. $500 million, 14 years. This fires me up. What does this mean for the Blue Jays moving forward? Good morning.
Lauren, good morning. This is a huge day for the Toronto Blue Jays, a team that, as we know, they've been courting major free agents each of the last couple of seasons, whether it was Ohtani or Soto or Burns or Sasaki. They got their man now, and he's been there all along in Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I think a couple key points. First of all, credit to Mike Rodriguez. He was all over the reporting on this for days in advance of the actual news last night. The no deferrals is a big piece of this entire equation. I think that was probably the thing that got this over the finish line. Vlad Jr. turned 26 less than a month ago, and there you see it, more than 3 times as big as the previous record-setting deal for the Toronto Blue Jays in George Springer. So they now have their man for the long term. I think in addition to it just being the win that this front office needed, Lauren, it shifts a bit of the time horizon for the organization to win going forward. Had the Jays struggled at the deadline or struggled in the next couple months, there would have been a lot of talk about Vlad potentially getting traded in July. Now that's not going to happen. They can focus on adding and augmenting to this core. Who knows what this means for Bo Bichette? As Robert said earlier, and I'm sure you'll get into later on, it's very good news, very good news indeed for Kyle Tucker, who now stands as the main bat available this winter. So I think for the Jays and their front office, I would expect a big and happy press conference next week once they're back home at Rogers Center, and something that Jays fans and Canadian fans overall desperately wanted to see happen.
We celebrate the person. Congratulations to a great kid. Some injury news, JP, out of Los Angeles. Blake Snell on the injured list with shoulder inflammation. They want to make sure he's right. They certainly have the luxury to do it. What's the future look like for him?
Lauren, this just came over the weekend where it was a bit of a surprise. Of course, Snell had gotten off to what I thought was a pretty solid start to his regular season, especially in contrast to last year when he signed late with the Giants. But now the Dodgers, to your point, they've had a number of pitchers still on the injured list, whether it was Kershaw, Tony Gonsolin, who, by the way, is getting closer to coming back. But in the near term, they'll have to probably dip down to Oklahoma City and find some options there, whether it's Robleski, Knack, probably not Bobby Miller this time around, but someone that could certainly make an impact on their club as the year goes along. But there you see the right-hand side of your screen now, Lauren. Seven starting pitchers on the injured list. And, of course, that doesn't even include Ohtani, who, according to Bill Plunkett's probably a couple months away from his season debut on the mound. So a tough weekend series for them, one they certainly could have won against the Philadelphia Phillies. But for now, I think a lot of focus on how they're going to plan things out. And the key thing, Lauren, I think this is probably the most important point of all on the Dodger rotation. With both Sasaki and Yamamoto, they're not exactly going at every 5th day because the Dodgers trying to watch their innings and pitch counts. And Dustin May, who's been off to a phenomenal start, again, he will go today, but they're going to be very careful, I think, with his innings too. So it's not just the fact that Snell is now on the IL, it's that he was supposed to be one of the guys who gave them an every 5th day type of a start. Sure. And now they're going to have to call upon that depth earlier than expected.
Still options, great options in that rotation. You could say the same about Jack Leiter and the Rangers. A blister on his throwing hand. We've seen this before. They want to get it completely healed, but it takes longer than expected. What do you know?
Well, we're going to have to see, Lauren, exactly how long Leiter is going to be out. He'll miss at least 1 to 2 turns in the rotation, maybe a bit longer than that. With blisters, as we know, they can be tricky to project and really put a firm timeline on. What we do know is that Jack Leiter's last 2 starts were arguably the best 2 of his major league career. So certainly this news happening at an inopportune time because he was just finding his way. He was able to locate much better. Look at that strikeout to walk ratio for someone who had walked a lot of hitters in the minor leagues. He had taken such huge strides there in the last several months to be able to be in the zone more often. So certainly right now the Rangers hoping, Lauren, it's just going to be a couple weeks. They're able to backdate the IL assignment. So again, there's some optimism. It's not going to be too long. Meanwhile, on Tuesday, Patrick Corbin, the former D-back and the former National, will make his Texas Rangers debut tomorrow for the Rangers taking Leiter's place.
And my Florida Gators against Robert. What do you think? Who you got tonight?
I think the Gators will win. Sorry, Robert, but I believe that the SEC will reign supreme this year in college basketball.
The line's fishy, though, JP. The line's fishy.
JP, with all due respect, and I say this with peace and love, you don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Why is the line
by the way,
one?
Robert, as a loyal viewer of your show, I do know this. Once you say with all due respect, you can say just about anything you want.
Pretty much.
What's the bet between the two of you? There's got to be something.
We'll discuss
We're
that at the
working
end
on
of the
it.
show. Yeah, we've got a little
thank you.
something. Great stuff
Thank you
with
so
JP
much.
Morosi.